Welcome to the Sewcial Hour Podcast, a podcast for sewists by sewists. I'm your host, Audra.
And I'm your host, Bethany. And today we're talking about how to find your sewing style. And that's going to be a fun conversation. I'm excited.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that goes into this. We kind of pre-gamed this episode a little bit. And I think there's going to be a lot of fun things that I don't think people realize impact their sewing style, because it's not just on the nose like that. So we'll dive into that a little bit.
I think at first we kind of thought it was on the nose relating to like garment sewing, but it really is for all sewing types. Hang tight. We're going to kind of talk about that, but we do have our icebreaker question. So let's kick off with that. What style change would you make from your fashion past? At first I thought about this, and I thought about I kind of go revert back to my high school teenage years. And I would definitely say I was a follower of trends instead of a trendsetter. And I kind of wish I had been a little more adventurous with my fashion choices instead of just doing what everybody else was doing to try to fit in. I didn't have a lot of confidence growing up. That was one of my biggest regrets, because when you have that teenage body, I probably could have gotten away with some more crop tops than I could now. So that was kind of one of my things. The other thing that I wish I hadn't done is the obsession with being tan. I was so obsessed with getting tan, and I had to work for it. I treated my skin so poorly, but I was tan, and I was tan for prom, and I was tan to cheer, and I was tan year round. And now my skin is like, why did you do this to us? And I have all of these freckles and moles and stuff. Hindsight, you know, I just wish I could go back to teenage Bethany and be like, don't do it. It's not cool. Don't do it. You'll regret it. And I do. But I have to ask, I don't know if you ever did the tanning bed thing, but do you remember the stickers?
Oh, the bunny
on
stickers.
Your body?
I had the bunny sticker.
Hearts, whatever. That popped up in my head. It made me laugh out loud, just like it is now. I just was like, how ridiculous was that? We were so adamant about being tan, but then I would sit there and put a sticker on my hip. So, and it would just those little bunny ears would just pop right out of the top of my jeans, just so someone could know that I went to the tanning bed and I have a little bunny ears sticker. And it was so trashy.
Oh, we did. I remember school would get out and it was like a beeline to the closest tanning salon. And then you'd see everybody from school lined up at the tanning salon. It was the worst. It was the stupidest stuff we could have done.
We would go, as seniors, we would instead of going to senior lunch and we would get to leave campus to go out to eat, we would all go to the tanning salon, and we had to do that once a week, and everybody would know, because you come back smelling like burnt skin and hair and awful lotion.
Yeah, if I could go back, I absolutely. And I think about all the money I spent on tanning beds, all the money I could have spent on much more fruitful things.
Like better clothes and skincare.
Yeah, no joke.
What is your fashion style that you wish you could change from the past?
We're of that same era. It's the late 90s, early 2000s, low-rise jeans. And then the layered tanks. Do you remember you would layer your tank tops? And it had the built-in shelf bra, which doesn't even look great. And then the coup de grace on top of the outfit that had the low-rise jeans with the layered tanks was the big chunky necklace.
And the puka shells.
Yeah. What were we doing?
Did you have the long ones that would hang down, had that owl? Oh, we were shopping at Claire's and Hot Topic.
And American Eagle. We should see if we can find some of these gems and post them in the Social Sewist Facebook group.
Well, not of me wearing them.
No, but I should see if I can find some great gems that we can just reflect on our sewing style back in the day. Or not our fashion style back in the day.
You know what's funny, though, is I remember when skinny jeans first became popular, and I was so mad. I hated them. I hated them so much because when I was a teenager, I was like a little beanpole and I was all legs, and I was so tall compared to all of my friends. I'm not really that tall, but I was tall compared to all of my friends. I shot up and they didn't. And I had these legs that were not only beanpoles, but I was bow-legged. So flare jeans, boot cut jeans, boyfriend style jeans, those really kind of hid just how bow-legged I was until I had to put on my cheerleading uniform. But when skinny jeans came out and everybody started wearing them, I was like, these accentuate how, because skinny jeans were still a little loose on my little twiggy legs. Okay. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like they were. And so I just hated them so much. And then I started to embrace them as I got into college. And then I started to embrace them more as I got older. And then I really kind of came to love them because my legs obviously filled out as I got older. And then now all the boot cut stuff is coming back, and I actually am kind of happy about it, but they just don't hit the same way. They don't, I don't know what it is. I got so accustomed, but it's just funny how I just vividly remember hating skinny jeans when they first came out. And then now that they're going away and people are wearing baggy jeans again, I'm kind of sad about it.
Well, this is a perfect example of how styles change and our sewing styles change. That's a perfect segue into finding your sewing style and how it can change over time.
Let's dive into it because I'm excited to talk about this. We've definitely been through some evolutions and things are coming back that shouldn't. So let's talk about garment fashion sewing. I mean, I think that's the first thing that we kind of think of when we talk about finding your sewing style. I'm going to mess that up this entire episode. Sewing style. But I think, understanding your body shape. I did not understand my body shape as a teenager. I wouldn't even say I understood my body shape until I was in my mid to late 30s and I was doing more garment sewing. And understanding your body shape is hard when you don't sew because you're just basing it off what is available and ready to wear off the rack. And those are meant to fit a general shape, not your specific shape, and we're all built differently. And I think that's a big part of it. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. And when you get into mass market, they're making things by the hundreds at a time, if not even more. And they're pushing it out to that mass market. But we are not a mass market society. Our bodies are not mass market. You line up 100 women next to one another, you're not going to find one identical woman's figure in there. And then we beat ourselves up because we don't fit into this perfect mold of what's trending. Well, you're not going to. Everybody's different. And we need to embrace that. And I think the great thing about sewing is we can really hone in that style, specifically if we're talking garment sewing, because we can make to our figure. And a perfect example was I just made a pair of shorts. I like a certain length of shorts for me to feel comfortable in shorts. If it's too short, I don't feel comfortable. It's too long, I feel like it accentuates my thighs. There's a certain length I really like, so I can make shorts exactly to that length that fits my style and my comfort level. And that's one of the beautiful things about being able to sew your own garments is because you can make to your body shape and those adjustments for your body shape.
Yeah, like bust adjustments, height adjustments, hip adjustments. We all have to make them. So building those skills and learning that about yourself is how you learn. Like I loathed wrap dresses off the rack. And I just kind of wrote them off as like something I could never wear. And then one day I decided like all those memories never happened and I'm going to try to make a wrap dress myself. But again, I made it to my height and to my body type and my exact size and measurements. And guess what? It's one of my favorite dresses. We have to break that mentality, I guess, of what didn't fit before doesn't mean it doesn't fit now, or, what you hated before because you didn't want to draw attention to my skinny legs. So I didn't want to wear the skinny jeans. So now I'm like, you know what? Those actually make my legs look a little skinnier now. And I like them. And it draws attention to those areas that I actually like now. So again, our bodies change. There's different evolutions of that, different phases and chapters of our lives that we may want to hide things or showcase things. And it's okay for that to change. But there's nothing more powerful than being able to make your own clothes. More confident building than to be able to make your own clothes. When you put on clothes and you're like, this fits me, I feel comfortable, I enjoy this, I feel like confident when I put these on, like it just like a mood booster.
And this is where your sewing style merges with your fashion style, because if you can learn how to tailor for your body and what you feel confident in, make what you feel confident in, not what's trending. Because if you feel like $1,000,000, it's trending for you. And so if you can figure out how to make for your body, it changes, or you can own your fashion style. And like Bethany said, be willing to try something. I'll channel my mom. Thank you, Bonnie. I remember when I was a teenager, we'd be shopping and she'd pick something out and I'd be like, no, I don't want to try it on. And she would go, just humor me. I can tell you how many times I heard, just humor me. And so we're going to channel Bonnie in this episode. And if you see a sewing pattern and you're like, oh, that doesn't work for me, just humor me and give it a chance. Try it, because maybe the reason you don't think it works for you is because you tried a shirt on like that in a store that didn't work for you. But maybe it wasn't the shirt. Maybe it was just the fit. And once you get the fit right, it is a whole different ballgame. So just humor me and try it. So I think that's a great way. That's one area of sewing style. And there's also sewing styles that actually flow between types of sewing. So Bethany, do you have a flow of changes that you see in your sewing style?
I mean, I used to do a lot of garment sewing. Like that was primarily all I did. Then right now I would say I'm in my like quilting and bag making era. I still make clothes from time to time, but honestly, I don't think I've made an outfit since the beginning of this year. Kind of not been something I've been reaching for. And there's a part of me that kind of has this, like, I think I have a sense of guilt because a lot of my followers came to me from my garment sewing and I still enjoy it and I can still help you with it. But right now I'm being drawn to doing some other things. At the end of the day, I don't have a niche. You know, there's some people that only quilt. There's some people that only do garments. There's some people that only sew bags. Sometimes I kind of wish I had a niche so I wasn't pulled in so many different directions. I find joy in being able to switch it up. I find it to continue to excite me, my sewing, because I can go from one type to the other. And on top of that, I also find it just keeps things exciting and challenging for me. So I'm always learning something new that I can share with you all. Right now, I'm definitely in my quilting and bag making and maybe even shoe era, but throw a curveball in there. But again, I may get inspired to make a garment. You just never know. Like, and the fact that I have the skills and ability to be able to pick up and do any of those things and have the resources to do so is really, really fun. It's just fun. It makes it exciting and keeps the sewing spicy. What about you? What is your sewing era right now? What are you focused on?
Right now, I am very much in my utilitarian sewing style. I've been sewing a lot of things that I just need lately. Like a couple episodes, we talked about how I was finally making myself a wallet because I really needed a wallet. Right now, I need to make a new laptop case because I got a new laptop, so my old laptop case is slightly too small. And then I also am going to be making some undergarments. So I'm kind of in this like utilitarian sewing phase is where I am.
Personal sewing, do you feel like it kind of ebbs and flows for what you're in the mood to do, or the season, or the moment in life, the chapter in life that you're in?
Yeah, I think it's techniques as well as trends. So there's things that maybe it's a new technique that I've learned that I really want to dive into. I remember when I learned foundation paper piecing, I was deep into foundation paper piecing for quite a long time. So that was a new technique and I was really excited about. Right now, I'm all things upcycling. I love upcycling projects. I love upcycling fabric. So that's really the area that I'm enjoying at the moment. And seasons, not so much sometimes, but more it's what I'm learning, what lights my fire, and also, like I said, utilitarian sewing right now. Like, what do I actually need? Because I've sewn a lot of things over the decades. And so now I'm kind of focused in on the things I need to sew versus the things I want to sew because time is finite. And as we said last episode, less but better.
I will also add that my sewing style can change not so much in what I'm sewing, but the materials I'm using. And what I mean by that is I used to, with my garment sewing, I used to reach for bold florals, bright colors, busier patterns. and prints in my fabrics. And so I have this whole stash. And now I look at it and I'm like, I would never wear that. And I have this whole stash of fabric that just doesn't speak to me anymore specifically. I am definitely on the opposite end of that. I reach for all solids, neutrals or muted tones. For me, enjoy that more right now. And so even if I make a beautiful dress, if it's a print or something that I'm just like, this is not for me, I'm not going to wear it. I'm not going to feel confident in it. I'm not going to feel comfortable in it, even if it fits me like a glove. Again, if you've made something in the past, you're like, well, I really liked it before. And I have a specific dress in mind that it was like it's a knit dress. It's not a hard dress. It's like a tank dress. It has more of a racer back on it. Perfect for summer, beach, throw over the swimsuit kind of thing. But it was like in like a bold hibiscus print. There's a time and a place, but it's just not something I reach for in my closet anymore. But I loved the fit of that dress. Made me look like I had curves that I clearly do not. I loved it. I really need to make it again, but in a solid or like a smaller little ditzy print or something. I don't get rid of that fabric because I can use it for testing patterns or, drafting patterns and things. So it's not going to go to waste, or I've honestly gifted a lot of it away to my sewing friends locally. Take this fabric. Whether you like it or not, it's a great way to practice before you dive in. So I've definitely gifted a lot away. You have to be inspired by the material. When it comes to quilting, one of my latest obsessions that I keep reaching for is Ruby Star. It's something about the colorway and the richness of the tones and the depth of the tones that they have that carry throughout most of their lines that I'm just like, I gravitate towards them every time. And you just have to kind of stick with what you like. Audra said, you don't have to do what someone else is doing just because it's trending. You can take that same pattern or style of whatever they're making, but then you make it your own with your own fabric choices. And that's where your personality can show. You can express yourself. That's really where we see your sewing style.
And it's really an evolution in your techniques, but also on your learning, and then also your fashion style. That factors in as well. And I remember when I was a beginning quilter, I bought a lot of kits. And I look back at some of those projects. Would I buy those today? No, but it was a great learning project and it was kitted. And at the time, it really inspired me because I was a beginning quilter and I was more focused on the learning than necessarily the fabric itself. Mm-hmm. And so now that I've learned and I've evolved and I've kind of found what my style is, it's changed, and that's perfectly okay. And so I think we really need to look at your sewing style as just different chapters of who you are as a person, where you are in life, the techniques you have. And Bethany, you mentioned at one time when we were talking offline, also the tools you have at your disposal. My mom is like hard into her embroidery era. She has an embroidery machine. She loves it. Her sewing style right now is very embroidery forward. And that's perfect because she's got tools and she's excited and she's learning and she'll get to see where that takes her.
I love that you call this out because we can only go as far as our tools will allow us. And so if you have a sewing machine that is straight stitch only, that's great. But if you want to do embroidery, you won't be able to. Or if you want to make some garments, you can't do a lightning bolt stitch or a stretch stitch. Or if you don't have a serger, things that definitely come into play. Or even if you're in bag making, if you don't have an industrial machine, you can't sew with some really heavy duty materials. Even if you wanted to stay in that style of bag making, but you want to just introduce like new materials, you may have to introduce a new tool to do so. And by tool, we mean a different sewing machine or different things, elements that will help you accomplish those things. This is probably why I have so many different types of sewing machines. I look for different ways that I can incorporate fun things. Like I mentioned in my You'll Love to See It, I think on Misty's episode where I talked about the In the Hoop embroidery projects. Those have a chokehold on me right now. I love them so much. The fun part about sharing all of these different things is it might inspire you. You may not have even known what some of these things were. My mom, when I first started getting introduced to sewing, I was little and she was sewing her own clothes. And then she started sewing clothes for me and my brother. And then, of course, we kind of outgrew having mom make our clothes. And so she's like, well, if I'm not making them clothes, and, at that point, it's just with two kids, she's not really making clothes for herself. She's just buying clothes. But she still enjoys sewing. So she got into quilting and she has heavily stuck into quilting since. She made a little outfit for my nephew when he was first born, but it was hard because she hadn't done garment sewing or anything like that in a long time. So we actually kind of worked on it together, which was really fun. But she is all about quilting and applique, and that's her sewing style. And she definitely has fabrics she reaches for. When we go shopping together or go to a quilt shop together, that totally speaks to you, Mom, but doesn't speak to me. We definitely have different styles of fabric choices, but we both still love quilting, and that makes it right for both of us, and we definitely support each other. And that's the fun part, is we can make the same quilt and we'd have different fabric choices that we would reach for. So at the end of the day, whatever you choose to do, just make it personal. Make it your own. I'm making a bag right now based off of a pattern, but then I didn't realize the pattern was like a mini tote and I wanted it to be a big tote. And so I kind of jokingly say I'm doubling the recipe, doubling the size. I'm using the pattern to kind of sew it up and know the steps, but I'm having to customize the whole thing. But then I go, oh, well, I actually want a lining in mine, but I want a quilted lining. I'm going to do a drop-in lining. And so now I'm adding elements, and it's all because I've built my skills, and now I'm making something that will serve me. Building skills, having the right tools can definitely impact your sewing style, whether you're garment sewing, bag making, quilting, crafting, making shoes, whatever you want to do.
That flows perfectly into stitch and share. Oh, you already did.
Well, I kind of shared.
You kind of did your stitch and share.
It's Auntie Two's mini tote pattern, and I have several of her patterns. But when I bought it in the chaos of Paducah Quilt Show, I didn't realize it was the mini pattern. I mean, it's cute, and I may make the mini version, but at the same time, I'm like, I really was anticipating a tote that I could put all my sewing supplies in to go to like club and stuff. So, yeah, that's what I'm working on. I'm still working through it. Hopefully, by the time this airs, I have finished it. Hopefully. What about you? What are you currently working on?
So I'm working on that laptop case. Well, clarification. Working on means I have everything picked out and set up. I just need to start cutting it. Well, and I'm going to have show and tell. So if you're listening to this, go to YouTube and you can watch it. So this is a laptop case that I made, and this is the one I currently use for my work laptop. This is Charlie's old sweatshirt. So I upcycled it. It's actually two sweatshirts. So this was the outside, and then the inside is like another sweatshirt that I upcycled into lining. This is my laptop case that I use every day. And I got a new laptop. So conveniently enough, there's another Hogwarts related sweatshirt. So I'm going to be upcycling that into a second laptop case for my newer, bigger laptop. So that is my current utilitarian sew. Is the lining is going to be one of Dave's old Hogwarts t-shirts. The outside is going to be Charlie's old Hogwarts sweatshirt. So it's going to be a whole little family affair that I get to carry around all the time.
Well, what is you'll love to see it?
It's the end of the school year. And I think for some people, they're like, oh my God, it's the end of the school year. It's summer. How are we going to keep kids entertained? Where it's the complete opposite in our house. Her summer schedule is as busy as her school schedule, because she goes from like musical, and then she goes to camp. She goes on a trip, then she goes to camp, then she goes to another camp, and then she goes on a trip, and then school starts. Boom. Like, it's summer just blinks by for us. We love summer in our house. Charlie loves summer camp. It is the highlight of her year. And so that's always good, because she just really starts to get amped up to return to camp. And as a parent, it's really exciting because it's 2 weeks with zero technology. They don't take phones. They don't take watches. They are completely unplugged for 2 weeks, which especially for a preteen, I think in today's day and age, is just so important.
It's the end of the school year. Congratulations. We have made it. So my You'll Love to See It is a plug for something that I'm doing for work. So if you don't know, I work for Caterpillar as their director of marketing and education. And something that I work very hard on is called the Handmade Collective. This is a 3-day virtual event that I moderate and host. And this next one is coming up June 18th, 19th, and 20th, not long after this episode airs. This is a fun thing that I created back in March, and we did our first virtual event. wonderful experience, and we decided we were going to do it again in June, and then we'll do it one more time in September. So once a quarter, except for Q4, because that's holiday season and that's chaos. I love these events. They are a lot of work, even though they are virtual. We had just talked about retreats. For me, this is kind of taking the best of retreats and expos and sewing clubs and quilt shops and all those things that you can do outwardly, and how can I bring that to you virtually from the comfort of your home. So I've partnered with some of the top educators and brands in our industry of quilting and sewing and crafting to do presentations and sew-alongs and demonstrations over the course of these 3 days. It is a 4-hour live stream every day, and then we have bonus things that you can choose to participate in if you like, but I just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of it. If you're interested, we'll put a link in the show notes in the description so that you can go sign up for it. It is free. There's a free version, but there's also like a paid version if you really want to do all the bonus stuff that I've pulled together for you and make the most of this experience. There's giveaways and free downloads and discounts from our partners and educators for their patterns and products. And it's so fun. I hope you guys come and tune in. If you don't get to tune in live, you can always catch the replays over on our Caterpillar YouTube channel. If you don't know, I have a wheel, the spinny wheel, and I write in with the marker different products to give away. And I had way too much fun with that last time.
It was really fun in March. It was great to watch. And like Bethany said, it's free. So why not?
Hope you join us. It's next week. I'll put a link in the description for you to sign up. And that sign up just gives you notifications about what's going on and enrolls you in those giveaways and so much more. So I hope you enjoy it. And you'll love to see it. Hope you tune in and get to hang out with me on the live. And if you do, please say hi in the chat. Say I heard about this on the Sewcial Hour podcast. That would make my day. Give Audra and I a shout out for the podcast on the live stream. I will ask for it. I am not ashamed.
Well, it's going to be great. And next week's episode, we have the incredible owners of Sewtopia, Amy and Megan, who conveniently, piggybacking off episode 12, also host Pretty Killer Retreats. So we can't wait to talk to them and get the views from a local quilt shop owner, both brick and mortar, online, and retreats. They do all the things, and we can't wait to talk to them.
Those are all the things I want to do one day. And their retreats, I want to go to one so bad.
Oh, so bad. I mean, they sell out in 60 seconds. And we look forward to talking to them. Reach out to us. Leave your comments. Join the Social Sewist Facebook group. We love talking to you. We love seeing what you've got to say. We want to hear your icebreaker question. What is your fashion faux pas that you wish you didn't do?
And please share. Make us feel better about ours.
Exactly. And we hope you have a great week. Happy sewing.